If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and enjoy the show. What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. For all the new subscribers, my name is Johnny. I also welcome you, everybody else who's been supporting me. I say thank you. Guys, today we're going to go over some statistics. We're going to talk about an element of the fight that often gets overlooked. Statistics that really don't get enough pub, which, I mean, usually they tell the entire story. We're going to talk about punch output, punch total, accuracy, and we're going to break that up into overall and power. We have a huge fight coming up March 30th with Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. And before that takes place, I wanted to look at Tim's last fight. And Tszyu fans know that that last fight took place on October 15th, 2023. It was for the WBO super middleweight title, and he fought Brian Mendoza. A couple things about that fight. Before the fight took place, Tim was 23-0. He's obviously now 24-0. And Brian was 22-2 going into that fight, and he had 16 knockouts. So he had some power that Tim had to be mindful of. We know that Tszyu got the victory, 12-round unanimous decision. Those scorecards were 117-111, 116-111, and 116-112. We also know that Mendoza is a tough guy to get out of there. He actually has never been finished, and going into the Tszyu fight, his only two losses were to Jesus Alejandro Ramos Jr. and Larry Gomez by a close split decision, and that was back in 2019. So talking about the fight, when you're fighting Tszyu, and this is for all the Keith Thurman fans out there, the one thing you have to worry about is his relentless pressure. He's methodical with it. He won't really kill you with 1,000 paper cuts like some fighters do. Think Paulie Malignaggi. He uses his jab to set his power up. And when we think about Tim's footwork, we think about his lead foot, his front foot. So those first early rounds against Tszyu, you really have to get above him on the punch counts. And overall in that fight, Mendoza wasn't able to do it. The stats we're going to go over today are the overall punch count, and we'll start there. Tszyu threw 406 punches and landed 120. Mendoza threw more. He threw 433, but he landed less at 93. It's the percentages of the overall count that usually matter. Tim was landing at a 30% clip, while Mendoza was landing at a 22% clip. That stat could be a little bit persuasive if you have a guy who's trying to set the jab up more, and this is what that was. Mendoza was trying to set the jab up, threw more jabs than Tszyu threw, but he landed way less. Those were their overall numbers. Now let's talk about Tszyu's bread and butter. It's what he wants to do when he fights anyone. It's what he's going to want to do with Thurman, and that's land his power shots. In order to land more, you'd have to throw more. And Tszyu outpunched Mendoza in the power category. He didn't get him overall, but in the power category, Tim threw 258. Mendoza only threw 225. And those statistics tell a good story. Tim landed 98 at 258, which had him at a 38% power clip, while Mendoza was only 71 for 225 at a 31% power clip. But let's talk about that. So Mendoza throws more overall punches, but he throws less power. Why is that? We already talked about Mendoza, who wants to use his jab more. Mendoza's jab was being used to set up the power, but if it's not working, it's not landing, you're taking a big risk to throw your power shots. And Mendoza just wasn't taking that risk. And that's why those fights sometimes go into the later rounds and go into decisions, because you have a guy like Tszyu who wants to end the fight with a power shot, but you have a guy like Mendoza who has a high fight IQ. He's just not going to give it to him. So all in all, Mendoza out threw Tszyu 433 to 406. But Tszyu outlanded him 120 to 93, and the stat that matters when you're fighting Tszyu is that power stat. Tszyu was landing at a 38% clip, Mendoza at 31. These are two important stats, guys, going into any fight you want to be looking at from round one until it ends. It's something that when this Thurman fight goes down, as Tszyu fans, pay attention to that in the early rounds. Watch what Tszyu does with his lead foot. Watch how he uses his jab more of a disguise. He likes feinting it out there to almost disrupt his opponent's vision, to hide the right hand, and that is Tim's bread and butter. Guys, if you want me to feature your favorite fighter or your favorite fight with the punch stats, let me know in the comment section below.
Knocking out Sabat. Enough to retain the title. Again.
And look at the numbers.